In this video, I'm going to go over how do I ensure that students and leaders have access in the BOY, MOY, and EOY testing platforms. The ones that, as the data manager, I'm responsible for are updating the Aimsweb, the iReady, and the map data. So we're going to start with Aimsweb, move to iReady, then do map. So once you get into Aimsweb and you click student management, there's a drop down where you can click student roster. Here I basically spot check to make sure that students are assigned to the correct student ID, that they're assigned to the correct grade level, that the entry dates and exit dates are correct, which are for this current school year. But this is how I check student rostering to make sure that it is still pulling in correctly. One issue we had last year, and I want you to hear this so that you can avoid it in the future. I was told that last year that once testing started, then I would see the new year actually populated. That was not the case. Don't wait till the day of testing to think that you're going to be able to see the current school year. You should be able to see the current school year well before that. Literally, like first day of school, you should be able to see the current school year. So if you run into an issue where you get into the platform and you don't see the current school year, immediately contact Aimsweb and let them know, hey, something's going on. Either my sis is not talking to your program correctly, or like your program didn't sync overnight. Try to get down to the bottom of it, because you should not have to wait until the actual testing window or the first day of testing to see the school year 24 or 25 or 25 26 or whatever the current school year will be. So this is how I check student rostering. When I need to check users, I normally spot check by checking a few different leaders and teachers. For example, I have Jasmine Roussel up here. She is a principal over at Ash. Clearly, she has management. She has a manager role. There's a couple other roles that she has access to. So these are all the different classes that she can see. Close that out. And here's her active button, so I know that she can get into the platform just fine. There's also like a deactivation button or unlock reset button. You only need the unlock and reset button when a teacher or leader locks themselves out. So these are the things that I check for in Aimsweb right before testing, normally about a week before, just to make sure that kids are pulling in correctly and leaders have access in Aimsweb. For iReady, that looks a little different. Once you log into the platform, I go to management, and then you have a management for students and you have a management for staff. If you want to check for students, same thing, checking to make sure that the kids are pulling in correctly, looking for the student name, making sure the grade level is correct, and just spot checking a few. The same case is with staff. And as you can see, like that staff has the correct either role or they have correct classes that they need to be assigned to. For example, Miss Bayless, she's director. She's not going to have any classes assigned to her, but she has school admin access. You'll see a couple people in here with school admin access if they're either RTI, sped codes, some interventionists may ask for it. People at the network level will have admin access to see things across grade levels, across schools. So again, making sure that that data is being pulled in correctly. So that's how I check iReady for staff and students. NWEA mapping, again, going to rostering. You can always do manage students and manage users, but that's more for like creating profiles and managing the profiles. But to make sure the rostering is coming in correctly, you normally want to go here. And there's a couple different things. Like you can do automatic rostering, which is like a new sync. So it'll tell you like how many students, for example, with this one, like there's 7 students that haven't received 2 teachers. There's no new enrollments. You can always export any errors. So currently there's 3 errors in here that need to probably be fixed. Now that I'm looking at them, we're going on a little sidebar tour. So yeah, these 3 kids need to have their stuff fixed, and it tells you exactly what's wrong, right? So like they have duplicate ID numbers. So we can talk about troubleshooting that later on in this video. But what I would do is I would search this kid's name, see if there's 2 profiles. If there is a duplicate ID, erase one, make sure the state ID matches. And this can actually be a side-by-side with the SIS. So in PowerSchool SIS, I would pull up the kid, check the ID numbers, make sure they're the same. Same thing with the, not just the student ID, but with the state ID numbers. But you do run into some errors occasionally that need to be cleared out. So that's how I check. Again, you can manage students by, now this is nothing. If you want to search students, you have to be very specific as to which students you want to search. I do spot check a lot because I feel like if I can spot check across the school network, then like there's probably it's syncing just fine. But I use the I manage students and the manage users when I'm doing that. There's also a part here where it says manage preferences. You can manage the terms here. I think I might have covered this in another video, but it talks about the terms. You can modify tests. We don't normally have to touch this part of things, but again, when I come into NWEA map, I'm really just looking for either an export or if teachers and students are rostered correctly in the way that they need to be.